Hey, so there's this really big discussion out there as to whether the French bow grip, which is what you see here, and the German bow grip, which is what you see bassists do sometimes, is better than one or the other. Now, a brief history about bow grip. So, generally accepted principle of the history of bass bow grips is that the German bow grip came first, and that's what you see here, and we kind of use it like a saw. Now, in the 17th century, a few bass players became curious to see how the violin bow grip, which is what you see the violinists do with the overhand over the bow, how that would translate to the double bass and how that would affect the sound and balance of the bow. And after the 17th century, later on, more and more bassists caught wind of this idea of holding the bow overhand rather than the traditional grip like this, which is what I hear came from the viol grip. So in the 19th century, a very famous double bassist came about, and you may have heard of him. His name is Giovanni Bottesini, and a lot of sources say that Bottesini popularized the French bow grip, and a lot of schools and institutions started teaching it. So in certain parts of the country, you will see a lot of French bow grip, especially in France and in America, the United States of America, which is where I'm from. So that's just my observation. Now, I don't know where everybody is playing French, but from my observation, that's just what I see and what I hear from sources. So the big question is, what is better, the German or the French? Well, I'll be honest with you. I have only played French bow, and I will be honest with you again. I think the answer to this question is not to ask what is better, but to ask how do I achieve the sound in my head to the best of my ability, and what do I need to do to achieve that sound. So the normal way to play French, that's institutionalized really, is to kind of relax your hand like that, grip it like this, and have a nice grip like this that kind of goes forward like that and uses a lot of your arm pressure. Okay? And this is a great way to play classical music. And that's why a lot of classical bassists learn the traditional way of holding the grip, because it's very good at performing traditional classical music. So I advocate for that. So as far as German and French classical, I think both of them are good to go. I think a lot of bass players in the past have refined the grip to fit the classical style. Now, for me, I kind of take a different route. So the sound in my head, as I said before, is the principle. That's the most important part. So let me give a demonstration of the Giovanni Bottesini Duo Concerto for violin and bass, and let's see how I play it. So the bow grip I use is a little bit different for this one because it's so dramatic. In the beginning, I used this kind of grip, and I'll tell you why. But later on, in certain soft parts, I'll use this traditional grip. So let's see. So here's the way I would play the beginning of the concerto duo for violin and bass for the Bottesini route. So. So that, what you saw there was very dramatic and a lot of passion. Some people like it, some people don't. Okay? So I'm not saying that is the way to approach this concerto. What I'm telling you is that is what the sound I heard in my head, and the best way to achieve that is to kind of switch the grip to the finger a little along the bow to get more traction in the mid parts of the bow. I find that when I do the traditional grip, it's kind of hard to get that dramatic pronunciation that I like to get in my head, Right? So if I were to use this grip, it will sound more like this, which is actually very classy, very classical, very, it looks good, okay? Very accepted in the bass community, which is this, which is, well, I'm trying so hard to do so hard to use my arm weight, but I find that the hand is unique too in how we get pressure in the bow. And at times where I need pressure the most, the hand really gives me an advantage. So what I do is I change the grip. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do this and move the pinky down here. So, you know, when I play the Bottesini duo, this is why I use this grip. You know? I find that when I do this grip right here, it just gives me traction in the end tip of the bow that I otherwise wouldn't get if I just held the bow the traditional way, you know? You can get the sound you want. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that you can't produce that sound. I'm not bashing any teaching that's out there. Don't get me wrong, but I find that I just can't get that sound in my head if I do the traditional way. But that's just me. I'm sure there are other people that can do it way better than I can. But for me, for my body, for my really long, ginormous hands, I find that the way of gripping the bow like this, which is not really traditional, is it French? I really don't know because I'm not really doing it the way it was popularized back in the 19th century. So I don't really know what bow grip this is. But I know that for this specific scenario, it really helps for me. Now, another example is one of my études. This is étude number 4 that I wrote a long time ago. Not a long time ago, a month ago from this video upload. Called The Hunt, which goes like this. Right? The reason why I use this grip is for the second part is all those double stops require a lot of traction. And so for those of you who are not familiar with the word traction, the best way to understand it is cars. So notice how some tires are really slim and some tires that you see are really thick. Well, the thick tires tend to get more traction on the road because there's more contact with the tire in the road, and it can pull heavier stuff, and you know it won't slip and slide like some of the smaller tires that you see when they accelerate fast. So the traction really helps get a grip on the road. It helps move things better. There are some disadvantages and some advantages to that. But as far as bow hold, I find that this allows me to get more traction. Even though I'm using the same amount of hand, I think the better word to use in this scenario is pressure, actually. So maybe I should edit that out, I don't know. But I get a lot more pressure, which is great for passages like this. By the way, if you want this étude I wrote, just go to iPlayBass.com/free and find The Hunt, étude number 4. So, back to the discussion of bow grip. I find that this bow grip right here that you see, that I don't always use, but in certain scenarios, I find it advantageous compared to the traditional grip. Here's me trying to do that same passage with the traditional one. I'm trying so hard to do it. It's okay, but it just doesn't have that. Yeah, I think that does the job the way I want it to do. So let me end this video here by coming to a conclusion. Historically, we've adopted ways to play the bass with certain bow grips. That has worked in the past for situations definitely like classical music. I am arguing that there's always a way to do something for certain scenarios. So you may find it kind of counterproductive to say that the way I play the Bottesini duo is different from the way Bottesini played it with his bow grip that he invented. Sorry, that's my chicken that just got done, the timer. But I am inviting you to have an open mind and to try new things that work for you. Specifically for you, and not for everybody else that has been taught this way or that way from that certain institution from XYZ. So I'll end this here. If you want to know more things about Bottesini or the history of the bow grip or bass or teachings like this, or just want to know more about the Bottesini Concerto number 2, I'm doing a class tomorrow, May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and I am giving away a free PDF of my own cadenza. So if you check my previous upload, you'll hear the cadenza that I wrote. Also, I will be giving away 50% off your first lesson with me. So I'm giving away coupon codes at the end of that class if you participate. So to get in this class, all you have to do is go to iPlayBass.com/class, click the button that says Bottesini, free Bottesini Concerto class. Join, stay to the end, and you get all this free stuff, all this knowledge for free, and you'll be able to meet other bass players and suggest your opinions like I just did in this very long video. So if you want to go, again, iPlayBass.com/class and free 50% off coupons for lessons with me. Take care.